Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison, Times Square Chronicles presents. About 10 years ago, I was covering the New York Musical Theater Festival, and I had a rule that if I covered one, I covered them all. And anyone who knows me knows I am not a morning person. And I was about 6 days into this festival, and this show was early. I think it might have been at 9 o'clock, maybe 10. But still, for me, that's early because I write until 5 and 6 in the morning. But from the moment it started, I was transported. It was musical, it was magical, and it was called The Calico Buffalo. And if you had told me I was going to like a show called The Calico Buffalo, I would have told you were crazy. But I did, and I'm with the book writer and the lyricist, E.J. Stapleton. E.J., tell me about how The Calico Buffalo came to be.
It actually came straight out of a dream.
Really?
I had a dream one night that I was being taken for a ride across what appeared to me to be the Painted Desert. And it was freezing cold, colors coming at me like the opening of 2001. When we got to the other side, I stood between two enormous animals, and they were buffalo with white, orange, and black spots on them. Next morning, I told the dream, and Jan said to me, "Leave it to you to dream of Calico Buffalo." And when she said Calico Buffalo, the rhyme kicked in, and that's how it got started.
Yeah, you say it's a rhyme because for the longest time I kept calling it the Calico Cow.
Yes, you did. But with love.
With love.
So I had no problem with that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to give you the microphone because I want you to tell them the story of the Calico Buffalo.
Sure.
And I want you to tell me what happened after it went from the New York Musical Theater Festival.
Sure.
I want to know the whole story.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll take both.
Well, the Calico Buffalo is the story of a baby buffalo who was born other than what is expected and other than what is accepted. So he's born with the coloring of a calico kitten, and it throws the herd into an uproar. There's a reason that they don't allow calicos or they don't welcome calicos.
Why?
That is attached to an ancient myth. Well,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, it's an old myth.
But tell everybody else why.
Sure. It's there's an ancient myth that says the calico calves could never fit in. They just couldn't hide, couldn't blend. So the calico colorings called to the wolves, and the wolf pack by the hundreds replied. So when they talk about the wolf is the natural enemy of the buffalo, the calicos couldn't hide into the desert or into the background or into anything, so they were a problem. The rhyme continues that later that evening, the losses were great. You know, half of the nation was lost. So when this baby is born, it's born to the mother is the queen of all buffalo. Her partner is the chief, who's a commoner, and he's not as familiar with what this all is. She knows it by heart because it's law. So it throws them into turmoil. They hear the herd coming to greet the new baby, so they decide to hide him and see if they can figure something out later on. And it's the journey that all of them take to find out what to do about this unusual child.
If I remember correctly, at one point they cover him with clay.
They do, right then.
Yeah.
Just before they come, they're right by a riverbank. So the mother grabs it and smears it all over him. And when they come, he looks odd, but he looks brown. So we'll figure that out later. And they go off for the night and see how far they can get without being caught. So we have a prince who wants power. He's a cousin. His name is Thorn, like the thorn in your side. And he happens upon the calico while he's refreshing his mud and sees what's going on. Decides at the festival that's called the Day of All Days. It's the big festival where they present all the calico calves, the new ones, to the nation, that he's going to expose this kid and make a grab for power. So when they all line up at the anthem of the nation, the little prince is going to be the first to cross. Thorn throws his foot out and trips him into the water, washes him clean for everyone to see. He jumps out, he says, I'm the one that you should be following, and it didn't work out that way. Nobody listened to Thorne. They were all too confused about what to do. And in the end, they decide they don't know what to do. So they have a legend that's the beginning of their culture. There's a figure that's mythical called the Anksha. She was the first of all buffalo, and she arrived to this space in a flurry of stardust and chose this place for her people. So they have a legend that tells where she is, and they decide the legend keeper's going to lead them back, find her, and find out what to do about this calf. So that's the journey. No spoiler alerts.
Well, no, I think we should spoil, because I think at this point, okay, well, let's start with part one. Yeah. It went to Nymph. What happened before Nymph? Was it a book? Because I know it became a book and it became a cow or a buffalo. Yeah. But what happened? What was the process of this whole show?
The book was written and came out in 2001. So the first book signing, I had written the book and I had illustrated the book. The first book signing was on September 1st, 2001 in the West Village at the old Borders bookstore. 10 days later, like so many things, I mean thousands and thousands of things, it got lost in the aftermath. It had had great pre-release reviews. The late Liz Smith gave it a terrific review and really opened a lot of doors. But right after the tragedies, the book orders were canceled, books were sent back. And for the next 9 years, I gave books away to anybody who wanted them. You know, so they went to the books from the Hart Foundation in DC. Oh. They even went to the Ethiopian Camel Library, and anyone who wanted them, Dollywood Literacy Foundation. I just gave them away. So I had 7,000 copies. I gave away 6,500 of them. Wow. And then I started thinking about what it could be as an adaptation. So I was introduced to a New York director named Craig George, who specializes in developing new musicals. And Craig and I got together and I started to write the book. So Craig really took me by the hand, very generous collaborator, as was our composer, Peter Stapchinsky.
Now, how did Peter get involved?
Okay, I had started with a composer I knew in 2010, and it just wasn't working out. And we had a couple of, pretty heavy producers kind of championing things forward. They both have Tonys on their desk, that's the right level, and championing it forward. And they just let me know that that composer was not the right one, so had to make a change. So I was looking everywhere and taking samples from composers and reaching out every place. I was living in Austin, Texas at the time. I had been there for 25 years. And a friend who's with Austin Lyric Opera said, "What are you doing? I got your guy right here." And she introduced me to Peter Stapchinsky. And Peter was working primarily in creating an opera that showed at La Mama. It was called The Bum Phillips. It was about Bum Phillips, who was a football coach. And it showed at La Mama a few years back. And he and I got together, and he said, he read the book, and he asked if there was any place in particular I might want him to start. And I said, take your pick. He said, okay, give me about 2 weeks, and let me see what I can come up with. And 3 days later, he gave me the opening number. And we were off and running, and also a generous collaborator. Really good guys.
Yeah, he's a Grammy winner. Yeah. Tell us what he won a Grammy for.
Oh, there is a group in Austin called Grupo Fantasma, and they are, in my best description, is a progressive Latin band. So Peter did the arrangements for the album that they won the Grammy.
I have to say, the music to this show captured me, not only because it really sounded Native American in a lot of pieces, but it also had other genres in it. So it was almost going on a musical journey. The Buffalo went through a journey of inclusion, and the music went through a journey of inclusion. And it was genius. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a complete bitch when it comes to music. I either love it or I do not. And I think I wrote in my review that your show set the bar, that nothing else could jump over that bar because this was so amazingly directed, amazingly choreographed. The music, the book, the story, your performers. There wasn't one thing in this show that I wasn't in love with.
Lucky. You mentioned the performers. Also, Billy Sprague, the choreographer, Billy
Love
Sprague
the
Jr.
choreographer.
Really imaginative, but the cast, we just were so lucky. I saw a couple of the kids who were in the cast speaking in an interview situation not too long ago, and had nothing to do with the Calico Buffalo at all. And they were talking about when they met. And Brooke Shapiro played Biddle, the Toad, and Jennifer Apple, who was recently in the band's visit in Boston, she played the wolf Amaruk. They were talking to each other, and Jennifer said, "Did we meet before Calico?" And Brooke said, "No, it was Calico Buffalo." For the first 5 minutes, they talked about the champion actors that we got for this show, all collaborative and all joyful. You know, when we don't have any pictures where anybody's mad, everybody's smiling all through the stills and the rehearsals, and I mean hard work. You know how quick it is. You put the show together, you get it up.
Thank you.
They were just amazing, everybody, and the musicians who came in, all top shelf.
Now, was this ever made into a video or a album or anything that people can get their hands on?
No, it's this is actually what the motivation, or part of the motivation right now, is that we have something that I think is magical. People like yourself have told me that it's true. And it's been sitting on the shelf since COVID. You know, right after New York Musical Festival, I started moving forward. And in 2017 and 2018, both, Peter Stapchinsky and I were finalists for the Jonathan Larson Grant.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And you should have been.
Thank you. And we're talking to producers left and right. We had a problem, and it was explained by a very generous producer what the trouble they were having is.
Which
Is that we seem to be a family-friendly show,
True.
not owned by Disney.
True.
So the lead producers were coming in, the investing producers were not. So we ran up and kept submitting, and then by 19, in comes COVID, 20, 21, 22, and the industry's got it.
Actually, that brings me to a question, because I did have a question about this. Have you gone to like Disney or Pixar or any of those companies with it, and what happened?
When we were doing the show in 2015, through Facebook, I got a message from a woman who was the head of the animation wing for 20th Century Fox, Blue Sky Studios.
Oh, okay.
So she invited me up to Connecticut to have a meeting with her. It was expected to be a half-hour meeting. There was an extra hour of the meeting. We had Peter Stapchinsky on board remotely for the first half hour, and then she and I discussed all of it. She loved the show. She loved the illustration, and she said, "You may not hear from me again for a year, but I want you to understand you're shortlisted for a possible animated feature film." Great. At the same time, I had a young man named Sam who was with Disney ABC, who reached out and wanted it for an animated children's series.
Which it should be.
Not bad. So every couple of months or so, I would just give them each an update, and I would hear back, "Terrific." Come March, I stop hearing. April, I'm hearing nothing. So I start Googling what's going on with Blue Sky. Disney bought everything. So they closed Blue Sky Studios. That woman ends up a VP inside of Disney. Sam ends up losing his job through the merger. So both of the opportunities disappeared at the same time.
But wait, why haven't you reached out to the woman for Disney?
I have.
And?
I don't think she is in the same position of authority that she was.
Oh,
That
okay.
she has-
So it really hasn't gotten to Disney yet. It did get to me. I know. Surprise, right? 10 years later?
10 years later.
Yeah, no, that was surprising. But, I tend to think things happen for reasons, so this doesn't surprise me or shock me. What are your next? You can't sell the book anymore because it's sold out.
Right, it's out of print. We have designed and we have a prototype for a hardback edition, but there has to be something to warrant it,
Has a book company gotten to it yet?
No, I own it all. I own the rights to everything.
Okay. And you can't get the Buffalo either, and this one's mine. But you do have this on digital.
Yes.
So where do you find this?
2018, well, actually, I guess 2018, I decided to do a digital edition. This is the original edition, and it has 33 illustrations. The digital edition, I wanted to be able to tell more of the story to kids who may not be great readers yet.
Oh.
So I wanted the illustrative work to help tell the story without the words. You could actually make up a full story as a kid without the words. So I did 247 illustrations and moved the text from white page, there's a lot of white page in here, moved it inside of the artwork.
Okay.
So the digital edition is available as a Kindle edition on Amazon.
How has that sold in terms of people reading it and people getting back to you about the story?
Well, the reviews have been great, but I have been giving it away a lot. We've been making it available to classrooms, to libraries, and it's. I would rather build some goodwill about the entire project than worry about the sale of the digital books. So every holiday, we give 3-4 days when it's free. And if you belong to, I think there's a Kindle club of some sort, you can read it for free. So it's available. We don't want it just stuck on the shelf. We want it out in the world.
I love that. I love that you care more about what you're saying than what you get out of it.
Well, I'm no kid.
Neither am I. Where has this gone now? Like, is everybody still involved? The choreographer, the director, the writer, are they still involved if there were to be a production of this? If you were to get backers?
If I have that authority. It depends, as you know this, if I'm still included, if somebody was moving forward with it. If I'm included and I have that kind of opportunity to put the band back together, I would put the band back together. And it's funny that it's 10 years later, but the two actors, Brooke Shapiro and Z Infante, who played the kids, could still play those kids. There's not a problem with the 10 additional years, and everyone else that we could get a hold of, and so many of them have moved on to tremendous things. If I could get them back, I'd give you that same show again.
I was thinking about this last night because the show is about inclusion. It is about loving yourself no matter how you're built, who you are. I mean, those that know me know that if I'm putting my picture on Instagram, I am persona-ing it. It's the poor man's facelift and hello. Yes, I'm doing that. I don't care what people think. But that's for me because that's how I want to be seen as. Have you ever thought of doing this as a show for, like, say, the deaf community or the disabled community, or having the Buffalo be disabled, kind of like Ali Stoker? Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah. We didn't get that specific. We just made sure everybody understood that when we were casting, we wanted everybody in. So I wouldn't be moved to, say, make the Calico disabled. The Calico is whomever the actor is who's playing him or her right now. Right. And with the Calico and Biddle, it can be either gender easily, and has been. We had some issues early on where people were uncomfortable with the two young boys saying that they loved each other. These are 5-year-olds.
Right.
So the idea that anybody had a problem with that just confounded me. But they thought it was a big enough problem to do something about, and we found Brooke Shapiro, a female, cast as a boy. Okay, and that settled everything for them. It was insane to me. But whomever is playing it, the Angsha is male, female, non-binary, anything, anyone can play any of the roles. And however they come, that's how we want them.
I love it because you are based on talent, not on what somebody perceives as something.
Yeah, it wouldn't even occur to me. That...
It occurs to the rest of the world.
Well, let's shake them up a little bit, shall we? Yeah, no, I grew up in an area where there were many languages spoken. I grew up in Boston,
Okay.
in one of the old working class neighborhoods, and there were kids of every condition. We never thought twice about it. If there was some kind of a physical challenge or some kind of a mental challenge or whatever the challenge might be, we accommodated it, and it was nothing. Nobody thought about it. You figured out, we had a friend who had cerebral palsy playing baseball, and you just knew that when he did it, you had to throw the ball this way.
Aww.
That was the only difference. There was nothing different about him. We all hung out on the stoops together. We all had our lives together. It just never occurred to us that you wouldn't include somebody like that.
That brings me to a really great question, because I swear this is what I think has happened. Do you think it's people as a whole or the way that we have been conditioned that causes this anomaly and this problem for people that are not all the same?
Big B. I think it is conditioning, and I think oftentimes it's a tool to get people to behave in a certain fashion. But if you look at kids don't have that until they're told to have it.
Right.
Yeah, so no, on the A side of it, kids are anxious to incorporate everybody. Yeah, I'm sticking with B. I think it's conditioning.
My son, when he was growing up, we lived in Ocean City, New Jersey, and I had him for half the time because I was working, and my husband's parents had him for half the time. And one day we were going through a store, and my son's yelling at people, "Turistos, go home!" And I was like, oh my God, what did they teach him? And I had to unteach my child all of this stuff, and now he is the most inclusive person. But they tried very hard. I mean, I was mortified and he was yelling it. Kids are not silent when they say things.
Whatever you put in comes right out of their mouth. But those kinds of things from the generations before, it's fear-based.
Right.
And particularly with the new immigrants, they pooled amongst their own. So we had across the street from us were mostly Mediterranean families. Just crossing the street, which is smaller than this room,
Right.
was like going to Europe.
Wow.
In my mind.
Ooh, I would have thought baklava, hummus, what can I eat at their house?
We got it all. We got it all. But that's the way it was. Down the street from us was mostly Eastern European. And our people were mutts, so.
Yeah, I'm a mutt.
There you go. Yeah, so it was very different. The fear-based of what they were trying to teach their children. They believed the children needed to know that to protect themselves from the other. And I'm also a painter. I had started as a painter. I worked as a performer. You worked as a performer.
Right.
You know how this is. And my work is all about trying to eradicate the concept of the other. I've been very lucky in my life that I've traveled extensively, and there is no place on the planet where I feel uncomfortable or unwelcome.
I think a lot of what's going on right now is that we have been so taught this is what it's going to be like here, and it's not. Right. I mean, it's really not. If you're open, if you're giving, if you approach life with, ooh, it's a new gift, I think that you're going to make friends no matter where you go. It's when, I think in unfortunately, it's more in America at this point that we've learned how to be fearful.
One of the biggest points that I wanted to make with the show, which I hadn't seen elsewhere, maybe it has happened elsewhere, but I had never seen it. But the idea of eradicating exclusionism requires that we include everybody. Not easy, but include everybody. So at the conclusion of Calico Buffalo, it's the little Calico Buffalo who was harmed by Thorn, who's the only one in the position to forgive him, and he, without hesitation, goes to him, embraces him, and says, "Come on, Thorn, it's time to go home." If we don't have everybody, we're always making an enemy. You got to bring everybody in.
I don't know why, but my conversations, no matter where I start them, always turn spiritual, and this one just did. I see, you know how it says in the Bible, we're all one body? I see it as this way. Some of us are the eyes, some of us are the ears, some of us are the blood cells, some of us are the skin cells. If we're missing one, we're not complete. And so it's always about drawing in all of those. And I have to admit, I have enemies and people I don't like. And the reason why is because they've stopped that. They've stopped that process. And to me, that's, in a strange way, unforgivable. But I have to learn how to love them. And I'm working on that right now.
Lifetime job. And for them, they're not in the same position, the same place you are.
No.
So people are going to learn things in their own time. But if we keep providing the environment where they are welcome, and we do that with a smile.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
That's all right.
What haven't I asked you that you would like our audiences to know about you?
Started out in the arts as a kid. I didn't have any way of really learning until I got out and started moving out of the neighborhood and incorporating more and more people. So I had started as a painter, ended up with a great connection who sent me to New York, and I studied with Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff. Then I fell under the tutelage of Joseph Salmon, who was one of the founders of the American Expressionist movement as a painter. And really, I've ended up with a minimal formal education, a very rich education, hands-on. So what I've found about myself is that I'm driven to try and make people come in, not turn inward, come in. To me, to everyone. I think there's one group of people on the planet, and I'm only a little pebble in the water, but if enough pebbles keep throwing that in, you know the story.
You're not lonely.
No, you're not lonely, and you're effective, and you become a bigger force.
Right.
So I'm trying to do my part as a force for inclusion, eradicate exclusion.
I know that we're trying to bring the Calico Buffalo back, so I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But what else is next for you? What's on your plate?
The paintings have become something that I wasn't expecting. I had to retrain myself during the COVID years, so it's really an exploration. And I've decided that they have now water miscible oils, so you need no turpentine. You just thin with water, and I'm painting in oil on paper the way I haven't for 40 years. So that, and of course getting the calico up and out, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Are you planning on having an art show?
Not planning on it. I'm doing the paintings for themselves. They're narratives. They're narratives, so it's conversations that I can have. I am just starting on writing the story of Biddle.
Oh.
Biddle is the sidekick for the Calico Buffalo, and he's a little toad, and I am starting to write his book, and I think that's going to be a nice adventure for a little while.
I'm laughing because I have so many friends who are artists, like major artists, and mostly they do it for themselves. I have a friend who died that literally was one of the most amazing painters ever, Joanna Masadi's, and she didn't want to sell them because she didn't want to get rid of one painting. So I'm laughing because I know so many people like you, and I just find it hilarious.
I have to spend a certain amount of time with them before I'm comfortable letting them go. But then I can let them go. And if they do go, I'm hopeful that the person who's getting them is someone who loves it for what it is, aside from anything else. They find something in it. You know, if anybody finds anything in your work, it's a very humbling thing. And for them, whatever it is, it's 100% valid. It may not be what it is for me. But when you see somebody react to something that you've made, particularly if they don't know you're in the room, it's really a very heartwarming experience.
By the way, tell the audience how we met originally.
All right, so during the run of the Calico Buffalo, we were given an extended run. Mm-hmm. So you came in on the extended day.
Yeah.
And you were sitting in the audience. Well, I don't like being off on the side or anything. I want to sit. Nobody knows who I am. You know, they're looking at some old guy sitting in the audience. They're looking at the stage. I want to hear what works and what doesn't work, and if there's a genuine laugh, and if there's a genuine tear. And I was sitting, I think, one row behind you and a little to the left. And a cousin of mine came by and was talking to me, and you turned around, and I'm going to say what I remember.
Yeah, feel free.
There's a little tear in your eye, and you looked and said, "Are you with this show?" And I said, "I am." And you said, "You're wrong. It doesn't belong here. It belongs with Disney. It belongs on Broadway." The rest is history. It was not a bad meeting.
And we've been friends ever since.
Been friends ever since. That's not a bad meeting.
No, I wanted the audience to hear this story. I knew the story. But I wanted them to hear it because we've been friends for over 10 years now, and strictly because I turned around and was in love with this piece. And when I'm in love, I immediately get on my phone and call producers to tell them, "Oh my God, you've got to produce this." Or I'll call friends, "Oh my God, you've got to see this." Rarely do I do it if I don't like something. Normally I'm just like growly on the way home. But when I love something, I can't wait to tell people. And so I couldn't wait to have you on to share this.
And getting ready to go out and do another round of knocking on doors. I don't want it to die on the shelf. So the industry has recovered some, and I think the door's open, and people who said no to me before may not be in the same positions they are now. So,
well, also, it takes about 15 years really to get a show, so you're only 10 into it.
I'm only 10 in, and 2 of them we lost for COVID. I'm only 8 in.
The Calico Buffalo is a show that should be produced. It is a show that should be an animated TV show or film. The music is exquisite. The message is something we all need to hear and take in. And this doesn't preach at you at all. It just magically draws you in and then makes you think of how we treat people. And maybe it'll make you be a little bit kinder. I am so grateful for EJ for being with me and sharing with you the Calico Buffalo. I am grateful to Magda Katz for filming us and always making us look and sound good. To the Hotel Edison for giving us a place to talk, be free, and to journey with you in meeting different people. I'm Susanna Bowling, and this has been live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents with the Calico Buffalo.